So today is officially 20 days since the first time I made a recording um, on the 1st of April, and today's the 20th of April, and that's a big deal, I guess. It's also a little over 4 months since I started exercising more. Weirdly, I did not do it as a New Year's resolution. I actually did it, like, I think on the 8th of January or something like that. I was exercising a little more seriously, like during the fall, um, and then I stopped around the holidays, um, and so I basically was going back to that, but I didn't lose a single bit of weight, not even a pound, um, really. And then the year before that, I exercised almost the whole year. I lost 4 pounds, so that's the bad side of PCOS. Um, you have to try a lot harder and do a lot more to get any kind of results. So that sucks. But I do have this, so whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I've also always had a rather low metabolism. I spent most of my life like curled up in a fetal position, and doctors, they're like, "Oh my God, you're so young to have like, you know, stage 2 arthritis in your lower back and in your ankles from curling up fetal position so much in my life and all that." They told me that like 7 years ago. So yeah. Um, it takes a lot of being curled up to do permanent damage to yourself. So it also makes like you have this hunch, and weirdly, you can be a quote unquote hunchback, not a real one, but somehow you turned yourself into one, and get two women to love you, whatever. I don't know how that happens, especially since I've spent my entire life having a complex about being unlovable. But anyway, last night, because I've been exercising, I've been trying to specifically, if I can't lose any of the weight, I could at least try to change where it's at. So I've been trying to, work on my shoulders and my arms and my chest and stuff, and try to have a more masculine shape, because I think that would help me significantly. And doing that consistently, they just measured me last night, the girls, with the measuring. Um, I am no longer 5'3", and I've been solidly 5'3" since I was about like 14. And I am 5'3 3/4. I'm almost 5'4", um, just from doing like shoulder exercises and stuff, which is just like, uh, I mean, it's a little ridiculous to say, oh, I'm going to get significantly taller. I'm probably only going to gain an inch, but at the same time, I have had a lot of um, insecurity about my height. I don't know if it's a strong enough insecurity to be called dysphoria or not. I don't know. Um, it's also a thing I try really hard not to think about, and avoid thinking about and all of that. So maybe I tend to wear shoes that are more like DCs and stuff, partially because I have as flat of feet as humanly possible. It's genetic from my birth mother's side. There's a lot of crap genes on that side. Um, so, flat shoes. I could never wear heels or something. Not that I would want to, but like that's just not a thing that could happen to me. So, um, not that thing at all. But I tend to wear them also because, that add like an inch to your height. And, I've never been comfortable with being this short. Um, I was watching some videos of a bunch of guys who are also insecure about their height, and they were wearing, like, 3-inch shoes that looked somewhat normal. Like, it wasn't really as much that you could tell that the shoe was meant to increase their height, but you could slightly tell that there was a slight difference in height. Um, I don't think I could ever do like shoe inserts because again, I have such a flat foot problem. Um, I I don't have the capability of forming arches or whatever like other people have. I do have a slight bit of arch. You can't be human and not have a slight bit of arch as far as I am aware, but yeah, um, it's as low as it can go, and it's not the limbo. So um, it's very interesting to me because it made me feel dysphoric because these guys who were putting on like these shoes, they were like, "Oh, I've always been short," and they're like 5'8", and it's like, mm-hmm. The shortest one I think was 5'6", and if I was 5'6", I would be like so relieved. Like 5'7", I would be so relieved. 5'7" is honestly more around the height I wish I was. 5'7", 5'8", because that's more where my dad is, and like I have a brother who's tall. I have another brother who's basically 6 foot, but um, you know, being under 6 foot is pretty common in my family. Um, guess it's all of that Irish and Scottish. More being the bottom of the barrel of white people, whatever. Um, I don't know. I've also been told my whole life that I was ugly. When I was a child, there's actually more than one occasion that an elderly woman would go out of her way to come and tell me how homely I was. So that was great. Um, and I kind of somewhere in college accepted that the most I could do was cute. I couldn't ever be like beautiful, and it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to be beautiful. I wanted to be attractive. So I tried really hard to make myself cute and adorable because, again, very strong issues about being unlovable. And cute somehow worked for a while and stuff for getting people's attraction or whatever. But I've always been considered ugly for a girl because some of my features are a little more masculine and my personality is a little more masculine, and apparently, if you are masculine, having a few softer features isn't necessarily bad. Um, like to me, the guys who are uglier or whatever are the ones who look the most like caveman-y or whatever and stuff, as far as I can tell from girls liking guys. So it's been a little difficult for me to understand what they're attracted to, which is part of my hesitation with transitioning, but I think I've gotten a little bit past that. But at first, especially, I mean, I have a very, complicated issues with my chest because, on the one hand, they're annoying and uncomfortable and I don't like them, but on the other hand, okay, maybe I don't know. They're too big to push down. I can't pretend to be flat chested. There's nothing I can do about any of that. And I would not be eligible for keels. So I would have to have double vasectomy scars forever. And sorry, my spouse talks in her sleep. Um, there's no way around any of that. On the other hand, I've always been attracted to girls, like, always, my whole life. I used to, when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, I would play with the girls, and I'd be the husband, and they would be the wife, and they'd bring me little plastic food on little plastic plates, being the wife, making dinner or whatever, and I'd give them kisses. I'd make them forts, and they'd have tea parties inside of it, or if the boys came around, I would, like, protect the girls, and I'd pick up the snake they'd throw at the girls, and I'd chase the boys with it. Like, and the girls would all cheer for me, like, actually throw their arms up in the air and, yeah, cheer for me. And, I liked being the hero. Um, I liked the girls liking me. But I never was exactly like them. And, they could tell, but they liked me because I was always, very dashing or whatever, very Prince Charming, very knight in shining armor. I always liked knights a lot, so I was a knight in shining armor a lot. But as I got older, girls didn't like that behavior anymore. The masculine things I did not make sense to the kids in schools. I basically had no friends in school, pretty much all of school, or whatever, because I didn't fit in with the boys and I didn't fit in with the girls. And it was what it was. But the big thing that I could do is once I got out of normal school and I got into college and I got into adulthood, I realized my boobs were like lesbian magnets. Like, I got good cleavage. First time I ever brought up, what if I was a boy? I didn't bring up transitioning or anything like that. Just what if I was a boy? In my first relationship, she was like, that would be such a waste. You have perfect whatevers. I was like, okay. She was like, it'd be such a waste if that didn't exist. And weirdly, you know, in my second relationship, when I did actually bring up, well, what if I did want to be a boy? What if I did ever transition? She was just like, no, you are not chopping off anything. They're perfect. It was like this. She was like, she literally said that would be such a waste of my boobs. So, every woman I ever dated or slept with or whatever, they've all universally said that I have like these perfect, you know, body parts. And I've never liked them. But at the same time, they're what gets me the girls. So I was very uncomfortable for quite a while with even considering doing anything that could leave me with no ability to be attractive. Because I don't got anything else. Physically. Apparently my personality is attractive. I don't know. I've never been 100% sure what it is that attracts women to me, but it does happen. I can't say that women aren't. Like, it's ridiculous sometimes. I don't know if they can tell that I would just take care of them. I don't know if it's that I'm like, a take charge and get it done person, and some people are just attracted to that. When it comes to like staying alive and being provided for and healthy and fed and all of that, I'll just do it. Um, and maybe that security attracts women. I don't know. I'm very different in these videos than I am in day-to-day stuff. I come across as very confident. I had an ex who was like, "You are at the same time somehow the most insecure person and the most confident person I've ever met, and I don't understand it." um, it's true, and I don't know why I'm such a conundrum or whatever, but I come across as very dominant and strong and like a rock in a river or whatever to most people. These are things that I've been told, not things that I'm like pulling out my ass. Like people tell me stuff like that. Like I'm very solid. I'm very dependable, reliable. Um, what else do people call me? Um, just all those things. I'm not. I'm not ever unsure in a bad situation or whatever. For the most part, I'm very calm for the most part. I've been called patient a lot, which I don't actually consider myself to be patient at all. But other people call me patient a lot. I'm very accepting of people. I'm like, okay, whatever makes you happy. I'm not a. I just had a semi friend come out to me as a trans woman, and they just, you know, she just came out like literally a few days ago or whatever, and I was just like, that's awesome, good for you. And there was a little part of me for the first time in my life when someone's come out to me as trans or come out to me as whatever, there was a little part of me that was just like jealous because they could do that. So last night, after the girls measured my height and stuff, and it made me feel so good that even if all this exercising isn't making me lose a single pound, I've actually gained 7 pounds. Um, again, of apparently muscle, which if it's muscle, I'm thrilled. I would gladly gain all the weight in the world if it was muscle, but um, yeah, my goal isn't to be skinny. My goal is to be like muscular. That is the goal. So if I'm getting more toned or something, I'm thrilled with the weight gain. But this exercising, I can't tell, and the girls, they say that they can tell, but I can't tell. But me being slightly taller is a little more something that is easier for me to measure and to see a result and to feel good about it, and especially when it's a thing I've had issues about for so long. Every woman I've ever dated is taller than me. Like it's like frustrating. Um, so I'm really happy about that. And I actually saved. If I ever came out to my family, I was gonna send them YouTube videos and like quote unquote tailor them to each person um, that I sent them to. And I actually went and saved like 4 of them, um, like the link to them. And I don't know, maybe it's not the smartest way to come out, but at the same time, I feel like my parents think all of my gay stuff is like something non-acceptable, something that other people could never accept. And sometimes it helps seeing someone else accept their kid. And so in the vids and stuff, it's parents accepting their trans kid and talking about, you know, like their concerns and things that happened with them and stuff. And it's like, it needs to be different because, like, in one, say, you know, it's to my mom, I got this kid with his mom and they're British. Well, first of all, my dad can't understand the British. My dad, for whatever reason, has trouble with British accents, and it's very difficult. I don't know why. I cannot tell you why. It's very difficult for him. Like, send him to South America to build schools for little children in Peru. He's great. He can understand everything. You turn on freaking Monty Python, and he's like, I don't know what those guys are saying. I don't know why. Um, anyway, basically, basically, sorry. Basically, you know, for my dad, it's this Canadian kid with his mom, and like the British mom with her son, it's like much more from the mom's perspective of being very mom-like. It's a mom who's a little bit kind, and she actually says the number one thing she would advise parents is to be kinder to your child. If I do ever post this on YouTube, I guess I'll post the links in the description to these videos, these 4 videos. But, like, I don't know. She basically reminds me a little bit of, like, a British version of my mom. Not my birth mother. Uh, if I say mother, it's the woman who birthed me. If I say mom, it's my stepmom, who I actually consider more to be my mom. Um, she did not know me my whole life, but she has basically fulfilled that role to, you know, the best of her ability, um, especially since I've become an adult. Um, so I call her mom. But, you know, she's very sweet and smiles a lot and very open spirited. My mom's the kind of person that if you come in her house, automatically you're her grandbaby, and she's gonna feed you and she's gonna take care of you and she's gonna throw her arms around you and you're welcome. Um, you're always invited. That's how my mom makes you feel. And I felt like this woman was somewhat like that in personality. Whereas the other video, the mom, you can tell she raised her kid by herself. She did have to fulfill a little more of the mom and the dad role. And, you know, her first reaction, instead of, you know, you accept your child, you're kind to your child, you're not losing a daughter and gaining a son, it's your child. It doesn't matter what gender they are, it matters if they're your kid. Like this lady in the video I would send my dad isn't like that. She's like, first thing I did was start researching. First thing I did was make sure I was as informed as possible so I could make an educated decision on what to do about this. And, you know, like, you love your kid, you want what's best for them, but you also want to make sure, is this for sure? And, you know, all of that. And I feel like my dad would relate to that more. Um, for my more religious siblings who, you know, we grew up in a hyper religious environment, and some of us ended up indoctrinated. Um, Unfortunately, it is what it is, and it's such a restrictive life. It's so rigid, but you know, is what it is with that. For them, I found a short little documentary about a little girl with a very Christian upbringing, and it actually made me cry because a couple of the things I related to a lot, but um, you know, it's not a trans boy, it's a trans girl, and it's a child, and I'm an adult, but at the same time, I think it might speak to them more because they do pray so much, and the mom did spank her at first for wanting to be a girl, and did pray for her, and was worried about, oh God, is this mean my child is going to be gay? That's what she thought at first, was her kid would be gay, and then it turned out her kid was trans. Oh no. And the church, are all like, oh, you're not a good Christian woman anymore because you've learned to accept your child. But at the same time, you know, she she said, I thank God that my kid had a stronger will than me, because if I would have broken her, we both would have ended up off worse. And she broke me, and we've both all ended up better off. And I know I'll never have that with my birth mother. She'll never ever give, not even an inch. But that's fine. But I would like to have some sort of relationship, possibly with siblings. But I don't know. I don't really have a relationship with my baby brother anymore at all. Mostly because of his wife, I think. I don't think that he ever intended for that to happen, but he's just ended up in a very religious, very very isolated, with only a couple sources of information, and then doesn't accept any others, to the point where if it doesn't come from those couple of sources of information, then obviously it must be false, which is not a healthy way for anyone to live. But unfortunately, that's where it's ended up. And then for my one brother who is a sapphosexual, I picked out a video that's literally a doctor doing a conference in 2019 about recommendations to other doctors on how to treat trans patients, and it is actually the medical recommendations, and it's a little long, but he won't care, and it literally is laid out. These are the exact things with the trans people. Here's, the medical causes, like physical causes that we've done studies on, and here's the, different types of surgeries, and here's, all these different things, and it's laid out in a very medical way, a very intellectual way, which he would appreciate, and would work a lot better for him than all this like emotional, sappy stuff. um, I don't know. My goal with coming out to my family, if I do, is essentially just to be like, here's a video, and I'd love to have a discussion with you about it afterwards, and see how you feel, what you think about it and stuff, and at some point in that discussion, come out and say, well, also that's about me, or, did you wonder why I sent you this? It's because I'm trans, or whatever. I mean, technically, I'm already trans because I've been non-binary for like 5 or 6 years or whatever it is, so I already am not a girl. Um, but my family has never thought of it that way. They've thought of it that I'm a girl who likes to dress up as a boy. I think they think of it more as gender expression, even though they would never know to call it that. Um, Again, my family can be a little conservative, some of them, but anyway. I do have other siblings and stuff, and I genuinely think most of them aren't going to care one way or the other. I've never had a deep, close relationship with most of my other siblings. I'm actually one of 10, so you know, my big bro, he is very conservative, my oldest brother, but at the same time, he doesn't care and he plays video games. Um, he's deeply conservative about most things except sexuality things, which is interesting. But at the same time, part of his job is something that Democrats are pretty much against, which is working on pipelines. So I get that he feels attacked a lot by environmentalists and stuff like that when he's had that job ever since, he was a young man in Alaska and stuff. He would commercial fish in the summer and work on the pipeline the rest of the year. So it's like, you know, what do you say to that? I don't know. It is sucky, some of the stuff that he does that's so hurtful to other people, sometimes even to me. But he also is big on laughs and he likes playing MMORPGs and PvP and stuff like that with all of his younger siblings. And he's significantly older than the rest of us, and yet he still tried to somewhat be there for us when we were little. Like, he was an adult when I was a child, like, he was much older. And I have two sisters who are under him, and those sisters are basically non existent in my life. They didn't want anything to do with their father, which I understand. Um, their father being not my father, their father being my step uncle. Um, Basically, my mother, when she divorced my dad, it was to marry my dad's uncle. So, my great uncle, who is not a great person, who is pretty much a terrible person. So, my cousins became my siblings. So, my oldest three siblings are actually blood related to me, even though they're my step siblings. It's weird. Um, it's not incest though, because it was not her uncle, it was my dad's uncle. She wanted a bigger age gap. I don't know. I do know. I do know why it was. I genuinely 100% believe that she thought he could provide more material things than my birth father could, and didn't didn't care to notice his flaws. And once she had decided that those things were worth it, she just went all in, even though his not good personness was pretty apparent straight off the bat. She still did it. Whatever. Um, but, the girls, they didn't want anything to do with him at all, ever. And I can't blame them for that. So, they also pretty much did not have anything to do with us kids ever, um, after the marriage. And again, I don't begrudge them that. I'm not angry about that. Um, the only thing I wish at all is that they would have said why they didn't want anything to do with him to, like, my dad, and then my dad could have gotten me out of there. But um, a step uncle likes to say it's his fault that I ended up gay. And I'm like, no, I liked girls when I was a toddler, you sick, twisted bastard. But I'm sorry, I'm getting a little angry. I weirdly smile sometimes when I'm angry. I don't know why. Anyway, the point is I'm not too worried about coming out to those siblings. Whatever is what it is with that. And then all the siblings younger than those three, I'll probably all of my siblings younger than those three who are older than me, I should say. So there's three more who are older than me. I'll probably just tell. I'll probably just tell. I I I don't think I need to give them a video because I've never been as close with them. I've lived with all of them before, all of that kind of stuff and everything and stuff, but I was never one of the girls with my older sisters, and my older brother, I tried to be one of the boys with him and my brothers were a little more accepting of it than he was. He, I mean, he pretty much just thought I was annoying as shit. So, as adults, we're not on bad terms or anything, but we're not close because I was just annoying to him. You know, why did I always want in his room with his video games, with his toys, with, like, why do you have to be so annoying? You're not one of the boys, go away. Whereas my two younger brothers, you know, they were much more, whatever you say, sis, because, whatever I said did go most of the time because I was kind of the boss when I was little. I'm still the boss as an adult, except on these stupid YouTube videos. Yeah. My baby sister and my baby brother, I'm going to send the video with the little trans girl, and my brother closest in age to me, I'll send the medical one, and then the two parent ones to my parents, and the rest of them will just tell. Whatevs. As far as all my aunts, uncles, cousins, 100% of them, I think will not accept me, and I can't even imagine my nicest aunt ever accepting me, so, like, it's a wash. I've literally lost an entire bloodline if I come out. Most of them I lost when I came out as a lesbian when I was 19, so my grandma already struggles to talk to me a little bit sometimes, um, because, how do you talk amicably with someone who you pray for their soul every day? So, um, I, this might be the thing that, like, tips her over or whatever is too much. If it is, that sucks because, again, there's lots of things that I admire about my grandmother. And she is the matriarch of the family, but at the same time, I can't live for her. And I understand that my dad needs to care about her opinion, but I need to not care about her opinion. And my dad may disown me. It's a genuine possibility. I've thought of the name that I would change to if he does, and I've thought of the name I would change to if he doesn't. And is what it is with that. I do have a family heirloom from my birth mother's side that is a hope chest that was handcrafted over 100 years ago by one of my ancestors way back in the day, and it's supposed to be passed on from the oldest daughter to her oldest daughter to her oldest daughter to her oldest. Anyway, I was gonna give that to my baby sister Also, I don't intend to birth children ever. Never. Would never do that. So she wants a family and kids and stuff. So I do intend to give her that. Um, Keep it in the family, keep it where it belongs, all that kind of jazz. And I don't think that she will disown me. I think that she will not understand. I think that she will pray for my soul as well. But I do think that she'll want to talk about it. She'll want to talk about it a lot. And that's fine, I can handle that. But there is a chance, especially since my birth mother is living with her at the moment, there is a chance that my baby sister will disown me. Um, I do think she'll want the hope chest though. But yeah, my baby brother pretty much has stopped having a relationship with me already. Um, don't really expect things there. My brother is the closest in age to me. I think is the only one who I actually expect to probably be okay with it. Um, Hopefully. But I also very much expect the first thing out of his mouth when I say I'm trans to be, no, you're not. So that's gonna be fun. Um, I'm gonna say, yes, I am. And he's gonna say, well, what makes you think that? And it's gonna be a big, massive, like, conversation that takes hours, but whatever. At the end of those hours, I think he will be like, okay, you know, um, he has always been the one who was the most accepting about my being a lesbian or my being androgynous. So, um, hopes. The rest of them, they'll either disown me or they won't. It's weird going from being part of a family with like over 500 people in it, like actually, to to one person. But some people don't even get it one person, so I would like to think that my mom would want to try, but she will do what my dad wants. And my dad will do what my grandma wants. And all of my older siblings will probably just disregard it all because that's what they've done my whole life anyway. Just kind of disregard me, so whatever. Except maybe my sister, who's closest in age to me. Um, since I've moved, she actually misses me, so um, maybe. Sometimes she can be a little open-minded, but she also kind of goes along with whatever my mom does. And again, my mom would go along with what my dad does. Um, but she also randomly told me on a phone call on Easter that I would always be her baby. So, which is weird because I wasn't actually her baby. She didn't know me when I was a baby, so that's funny. Maybe I'll remind her she said that. But at the same time, I don't want to cause strife in her marriage with my dad. But at least I'm a little taller. Almost an inch. Who knows, if I keep at it, 2 months from now I could be 5'4". That's something. That's something.